Bum, bum, bum. Okay, chat. It is time. Big announcement time. Wow. Hello, chat. We have got some exciting news to share with you all today. Here soon on the channel, within a month or so, we are going to be having a Daggerheart playthrough set in a campaign setting known as the Wither Wilds, which is in the Daggerheart book and can also be found at daggerheart.com, as well as demi-playing through the Daggerheart Nexus. You can find the campaign setting if you want to see more information about this. I am very excited. The story is going to be of my own custom making. I am taking at least a month to prepare like campaign setting materials. I'm going to be writing out a whole bunch of stuff and preparing in advance as much as I can. Maybe even hosting a few playtests with my family here and there. Majestic!
Dweber Inc. just subscribed.
Dweber, thank you so much for the Prime. Much appreciated. So yeah, we are going to be doing Daggerheart, but the one thing that I'm also very, very excited about is with Daggerheart, or we're not only just going to be doing the Daggerheart playthrough, but it is going to be a, what's the word I'm looking for? A dedicated weekly, at most bi-weekly at minimum playthrough. Like my players, I told them from like right at the start that I'm wanting them to be able to commit or make a commitment to a weekly schedule. We haven't really picked the exact day yet, but I do have 4 amazing players that have signed up for it, and I'm really, really excited. Again, it's going to be a custom story that I am currently building within the world of the Wither Wild campaign setting. Mostly set in a place called the Fainwick, which is this vastly overgrown wilderness. The world that is in this campaign setting is just absolutely incredible. And no, you're amazing, Dweber. Real quick, let me go ahead and actually bring out the book. This is also the reason why I brought out my book reading PNG. Because I'm actually going to read y'all an excerpt from this campaign setting, so y'all can kind of get an understanding of what it is that we're going to be doing. So this is the overview of the Wither Wilds. The Fainwick is a wild and untamed land, long avoided by outside forces. The woods are dark and twisting, filled with faint divinities who perform small miracles and services for its inhabitants, but are just as likely to lure travelers off narrow paths to their ruin. Seemingly harmless expanses of field hide bogs that engulf entire armies, consuming heavy artillery as quickly as it can cross the border. This wilderness fosters hardy people who are bold enough to raise families where others have not, and strictly follow the unique rules that keep them safe. These wicklings remained insulated from their neighbors' war until plague forced the people of Haven to desperate deeds. Haven was once the most powerful force in the region. For centuries, the high stone walls into the capital bore the phrase, "the Godless Gate." With the original meaning has been lost to common knowledge, some dusty tomes and ancient records state that the founders of Haven wished to be free from the influence of the faint divinities that dominated the surrounding regions. They hatched a plan to kill one of the mightiest of these deities, known as Shun-Ash, the Great, or the Granite Ophid, the Granite Ophid, excuse me. While their exact method of deicide is forgotten, their victory ensured Haven's dominance in the region for centuries to come. They made their home behind his remains, which became the mighty walls that Haven is known for. But Shun-Ash would have his revenge. As the Havenites carved through his stone body, the fine dust left behind settled into the surrounding earth. There was a time of prosperity over many centuries, while the scales of the god remained undisturbed. But progress is its own pressure. The growing population demanded increased productivity, and as farmers tilled deeper soil and miners hacked into hidden stone, the ancient stone dust rose to the surface. The same walls that brought the city security became the crucible that incubated a virulent plague. Over the last 2 years, over half of the Haven's populace fell to a disease known as the serpent sickness. First, victims cough up dust. Soon after, their skin breaks out in a scaly rash. Finally, their body hardens. First the flesh, bones, and soft tissues, spreading until finally their organs ossify. Once within the organs, the serpent moves so quickly that sufferers petrify where they stand, filling Haven with statues of victims in their last moments of agony. The High Magus of Haven, Archmage Phylax, discovered a rare red flower called the Crimson Lady's Veil that could cure the serpent's sickness. These buds grow prolifically across Fanewick in the spring, but for every 10,000 of the common white-petaled blossoms, only one red flower blooms. Desperate to save their people from the plague, Haven invaded Fanewick to amass the scarce red buds. Their forces plunged into the deep wood and, under the guidance of Archmage Phylax, plucked out the reaping eye from the most powerful faint divinity that protected the land, the great owl, Nikta, the shepherd of the seasons. The shepherd kept Fanewick in balance by turning her eyes upon the land, first for ripening, then for ruination. Thus, Nikta maintained the cycle of season, of growth and decay, of death and rebirth. With her reaping eye removed, Nikta can only watch over Fanewick with the sowing eye, forcing the land into everlasting spring. In the years since, Haven has conquered the bogs, turning them into fields to harvest red flowers. The endless growth that once seemed like a gift quickly evolved into a scourge known as the Witherwild. Fanewick's flora and fauna flourished, unchecked and uncontrolled. Animals swell to massive size, trees warp, twist, and begin to hunt people, and vines creep along the forest floor, strangling all they touch. This explosive growth is unconquerable and unrelenting, with no force able to stop the burgeoning verdants for long. Prior to the serpent's sickness and the shepherd's endless growth, okay, never mind, that's a little bit for the party. So there you go. So I was instantly amazed by how cool this this campaign setting is. First and foremost, the divinities of the land, like the gods and the goddesses that are prevalent in like religion and such like that, are not often some distant, far away realm. They are walking along the ground, same as mortals and same as everybody else, and they are just out there. And they're also influenced heavily by what mortals do. Like, they were even able to kill one of them and rip the eye out of another. Two of the most powerful, like, they're both considered some of the mightiest deities that dwell over this land. So this is the campaign setting that we will be going into for our playthrough, and I've been thinking of naming it As the Wilds Wither. So I'm really looking forward to it. My players are very new to the system. Like, this is a brand new system to begin with. Like, it's only been out for like a couple months and a half or so. going on to 3 months now. So it is still a very relatively new system. So there's still a lot to learn. But I'm really looking forward to it. But like I said, it's going to be about a month or so from now that we're going to be doing this. Yeah, I really cannot wait. It's going to be amazing. I have, excuse me, I have an amazing storyline lined up for it. It's going to be jam-packed with adventure, and one thing that I absolutely adore about Daggerheart is exactly how it plays. It is not like Dungeons and Dragons. Like, I absolutely love Dungeons and Dragons, but one thing that I always disliked about Dungeons and Dragons was its pacing, especially with combat. Combat in Dungeons and Dragons can take a very long time. Like, very easy, mundane encounters can go for 30 minutes, sometimes into an hour. And then you can have an entire campaign, or not entire campaign, but like an entire session of just one big combat if it's like something like a big bad evil or like some really powerful end game type boss. Like, it's slow, and sometimes watching it can be a little boring, and that's one thing that Daggerheart definitely fixes. It is a much faster paced combat system, and it also really highlights creativity and teamwork and world building. Like, my players are going to help structure this story as much as I do. Like, there will be many times where I will hand creative control over to one of my players and say, okay, so what's happening with this exact situation that you find yourself in? If anybody is interested in any kind of Daggerheart gameplay, if you would like to see maybe how Daggerheart plays, or if you're interested in maybe picking it up yourself, I highly recommend going and checking out Critical Role on YouTube. They recently have posted an 8-episode miniseries known as The Age of Umbra, which is another one of the campaign settings that is in the Daggerheart core rulebook. And it could have been one of the choices that we could have done as a campaign setting for this. But I feel like the Wither Wilds is definitely more my style, especially with like my naturistic druidic ways. It's going to be a very fun campaign. I promise y'all it's going to be... I'm very excited. I cannot stress it enough. That's why I said that this is a very big announcement. The amount of creativity and freedom of choices that you have with Daggerheart is something that I really just applaud, and I'm very excited to see how the story goes. Like, I've got a really good storyline. It's a custom-made storyline. Like, they have a little bit of a story arc in the campaign module. You like, this is something that you can kind of use to maybe get things started. We're not going to be using that. We're going to be doing something of my own creation, and I'm very hyped for it. So be sure to keep an eye out for it. I will be posting more news about it in my socials. So if you would like any information, be sure to keep an eye out on those. Especially in my Discord, I will be making posts in the TTRPG section about this. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. I'm very hyped, and I hope y'all enjoy the show when it begins.